Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to be here today for my presentation. My name is Aubrey Martin, and I'm a senior public relations major here at Biola University. Today, I'm privileged to speak with you about my time as a student here, what I've learned, and how that has impacted my future career path. Let's get started by learning a little bit of background about me. So, as many of you may already know, I actually am from Chicago. I never expected to live in Southern California, but after spending my freshman year of college in Boston, I changed my major to public relations. I actually started out as a music therapy major, so made quite the jump. But after lots of research, it was clear that Biola University had the best PR program to offer of all of the schools I looked into. So I moved across the country to begin my academic journey here on the West Coast instead of the East Coast. This decision set the tone for the rest of my academic career, opening up so many opportunities that would not be available if I lived in any other city in the United States. Specifically, the internship opportunities available within the PR industry have given me insight into multiple different professional fields. So what made me decide to go from a music therapy major to a public relations major? While this decision felt like a leap of faith at the time, it turned out to be the most strategic professional move that I could have made. I think an indicator of a student that would be excellent at PR is someone who works well with change. While the definition of public relations remains the same, the role takes on multiple forms depending on the client. Studying PR has made adaptability one of my greatest strengths. I've interned all over the country at companies and corporations that couldn't be any more different from each other, all while doing the thing that I love most. So today I'm going to talk about the unique versatility of public relations within all professional industries and how that creates a platform for positive social advocacy. Public relations is a versatile field which allows for professionals to engage in a wide variety of careers. Social advocacy is interwoven within the definition and role of PR in the workplace by nature of creating mutually beneficial relationships. I know this may sound like a bold claim, but I truly believe that public relations is the gateway to every professional field. Do you love the entertainment industry? Do PR for a TV show or movie? Warner Brothers is only 40 minutes away. Do you have an interest in fashion? Work influencer relations at a local PR agency? Are you great with numbers? Do event planning for one of the big 4 accounting firms? The possibilities really are endless. Through my own journey, I have seen how PR can take you anywhere in your professional career, even places that you did not expect. In this presentation, I will review the relationship between the versatility of public relations and the opportunities for social advocacy that it provides. Through personal internship examples, I will explain why public relations is the gateway into most, if not all, professional industries. So, as many of you can probably relate to, I got my first internship experience through a family connection. One of the most practical elements of public relations, and it's already been discussed today in the panel, is the gift of networking. I was able to network my way into a paid summer marketing internship with Spraying Systems, which is actually a nozzle-making company, which who even knew existed, back home in Chicago. I never thought I ever would end up doing anything with business or marketing because numbers are not my strong suit. But as it turns out, PR and marketing actually have a lot in common. So I actually worked under the VP of Agriculture, so spraying cornfields and all of these other big surfaces that you probably never knew needed to be sprayed. But I interned for the VP of Agriculture and conducted competitor research. I composed press releases for new products. We had a cleaning solution that was made of water, salt, and electricity, so I wrote a whole press release about that new technology. And I even created a health initiative for the entire company. So one experience in particular where I found my public relations classes to be super helpful was they needed all of their employee headshots taken so that they could put their little ID pictures in the bottom of their email. And my boss was going to hire a professional photographer, but on my resume he saw that I had some photography experience. I actually took the class with Katada, and while it was a great class, definitely am not a professional photographer. But I was able to jerry-rig a studio in one of the spare office spaces. I took 200 employee headshots, and I also took an art class here at Biola, so I edited them all with Photoshop and Lightroom. So instead of hiring someone, he used me, and I was already hired there. So I got a ton of pictures from my portfolio and got to meet everyone in the office, and it was a super great experience where I was able to use some more creative and artistic skills that I have in a marketing setting. I also did some campaign design. So my boss asked me to create a health initiative for the company, and so I walked all around the building. I priced out how expensive it would be to get a track installed, because in the Midwest we don't have mountains to climb and oceans to swim in, so we have to power walk. So I did that, and I proposed that we put ping pong tables in the men's lounge and the women's lounge so that people could mentally and physically engage with each other on their breaks. So that was some of Dr. Kim's PR management skills that came into play for that. And then I also did a lot of search engine optimization as well. So I would look up a keyword like nozzle or spray or a word like that if someone was trying to find a nozzle making company for their restaurant or their school. And if I would find a hole, like if I looked up a word and we didn't show up, I would make note of that so that my boss knew how we could be more present on those online platforms. So that was another area of public relations and strategic marketing that really merged with this internship experience that I didn't think had anything in common. So what does nozzle making have in common with the fashion and beauty industry? Public relations. I also interned with a fashion and beauty PR firm in West Hollywood called Manfolk Public Relations. And for this internship, I did a lot of influencer relations. So Allie was talking about fashion bloggers earlier, and I would look up on Instagram and see who fit our brands, who already represented similar brands to us, and then we would create events on site and gift them with some of our products so that they could do some advertising for us. And that was an internship experience where I had to use a lot of aesthetics, a lot of creative brain to do that. I also did editorial relations, so I would pitch stories to magazines for Sabo Skirt and Avocado Activewear and Pacifica and all of these beauty brands that we represented. So that integrated some writing for PR skills. Actually, I had to write pitches and press releases. And then I also did some showroom management, which is basically just making sure everything is clean and looks tidy for when people come to pull fashion pieces for red carpet events. And then also I learned how to manage faith conversations here and how to remain balanced between your personal life and your professional life. You'll notice, especially if you go into the fashion industry or the entertainment industry, that a lot of people have been really hurt by the church and almost spurred creatively by that hatred or hurt or anger. And I really learned how to be a good listener and to create a safe space for a conversation instead of a conversion, which I feel like we don't often learn, even at a Christian university. So that was great practical experience on how to remain professional and respectful within those conversations. I also worked in the nonprofit industry. So this past summer I spent in Manhattan, New York. And while working at Manfolk taught me so much, it left me longing for a deeper purpose. I wanted to represent a company I could fully believe in with a missional meaning behind it. That's why I found Chosen People. Initially, what attracted me to this position was the location. Who doesn't want to spend a summer working in Manhattan? But after I moved out there and began to meet the Messianic Jews whose lives had been touched by this ministry, I went into work every single day with a drive that I hadn't had in any previous position. This job allowed me to share the gospel and do PR simultaneously, which again, didn't understand that was possible until I actually got into the field. I was able to use my strengths to hopefully introduce citizens to salvation. So part of what I did for this ministry is I managed their Instagram account. And for those of you who don't know, Messianic Jews and Orthodox Jews are different types of Jews who still share the same heritage, the same traditions. But Messianic Jews believe in Jesus in the New Testament, and Orthodox Jews don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah, and they tend to only refer to the Old Testament instead of the New Testament. So a lot of what I did was online evangelism, and I did a lot of web building. I did some site migration. We had a really old website on a platform called Joomla, which a lot of you probably have never even heard of. We migrated that all over to WordPress. And so I'm not sure how to do it in this presenter mode, but I helped refurbish their new events website and made it modern, made it aesthetic. We were targeting a younger demographic of people, and in order to do that, we had to cater to what attracted them. So we also have a platform called I Found Shalom, and it's similar to I Am Second, where Messianic Jews share their testimonies about how they found Jesus. And it was so interesting to get all of the responses from people, even via Instagram and the website messenger, just how that hit them at the perfect time, and like shared exactly what they needed. And a lot of people do come to faith by watching these videos. So who knew that PR could be used in this specific way? And then finally, I work right now for the Giving Keys. It's a pay it forward company in Los Angeles, and they integrate a pay it forward model into everything that they do. So all of the people who make their jewelry, they have little keys with inspirational words stamped on them, and they're all made by people transitioning out of homelessness. And this kind of goes with the CSR model that Brianna was talking about earlier. So the bigger the Giving Keys gets, the more jobs they can provide for people. And I think this really is the essence of public relations when it's done well and when social advocacy comes into play, because as each person benefits, it benefits the whole even more. And so in my experience, the culmination of social advocacy via public relations occurred the summer of my sophomore year of college. I have a friend named Megan who moved across the world and adopted 2 HIV-positive Ugandan girls the year after she graduated from high school. Their names are Priscilla and Rhoda, and they need medicine every day to keep them alive to fight against their disease. But access to such medications is really limited in Uganda. The doctors aren't treated or paid fairly, so a lot of times people have to bribe the doctors in order to get the medication that they need. So I knew that Megan was in need of some money, and I knew I had some event skills and some public relations skills, but I didn't know exactly what to do. And then one day I was walking around the farmer's market in my town, and I came across this woman named Dana, and she owns this jewelry company. There's an example of some of her pieces, really dainty, really beautiful, and I, for some reason, thought of Megan when I passed her table, so I asked her if she would come to my house and help me throw a jewelry fundraiser for my friend. And it was so awesome because I got to bring new clientele for Dana. We raised money for Megan and gave people an opportunity to donate. And then all my friends and family had an awesome time. We had food and music and like made it a whole event, and I got a really awesome campaign to put on my portfolio with event planning experience. We ended up raising $2,000, which was way beyond what I expected. And Megan also got to share the gospel in her testimony because we Skyped her and we got to meet her girls. And Dana, the jewelry company owner, isn't a believer. So that was a really powerful experience, again, with really natural faith integration. So public relations provides the skills necessary to be uniquely adaptable in a professional world that is always changing. If you're anything like me and don't quite know where you're going next year after graduation, please know that you are uniquely equipped with all of the skills you need to succeed in every professional field. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and now is the time for questions.